controversial subjects with the facts can be tense, but we are a science here to make things make sense.
Okay.
Drag
me to the core of the earth, Mitch.
Obviously,
Start it off.
This pod is inspired by the one and only Greg Brown and his, how shall I put this?
Flatulence.
A flatulence problem.
Okay.
Is for sure a problem. Not just for me, by the way.
Okay, know what it's called?
What?
Because I've been actually reading so many
you told
science
me-
articles about
Oh, the
farts.
actual issue.
It's called, what I have is called functional flatulence.
What does that mean?
Okay, so now I'm like, doesn't everyone have this? Okay, because, first of all, 70 billion farts happen on this here thine earth a day.
Okay, does that include just humans, you mean, or is that including?
Sorry, that's just humans.
Just humans. Okay.
Oh my God, don't make me
Think of all
started
the
on the
animals
frickin'
farting,
cows.
right? Yeah.
Although it's mostly burps that cause methane, and we all know that. And if we don't, now you
Watch
know.
a video.
Yeah. So 75 billion farts a day, right? Then I'm like, okay, that works out to 10 per person, essentially, is around 7 billion people on the planet.
I see. Okay.
So everyone is farting, but
But
functional.
no one's talking about it.
No one's literally talking about it. Everyone's just dragging me and blaming me. Okay, but functional flatulence is when you feel like you have problems with your farting 3 days a month for 3 months. And I'm like, girl, try 3 hours every
3
day.
days. It's more like 3 years every day consistently.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I have that, because I really, when I read that stat, was like, I don't like reading about fart science things, because I'm just actually need to be studied.
Okay. So yes, definitely farting is normal. It's natural. I don't have a problem with you farting. It's just at times. So there's two things. You're smelly.
Okay, so what? I'm a vegetarian.
No. We're gonna.
Okay.
I have science for this. Okay. So, but number two, the difference, and not poo, but farts. Number two is my point. Number two is, you.
What?
Unlike most people, do have no shame in farts, and not that anyone should have shame in farts, but you do
I
not
really
ever
don't.
consider.
I actually almost think that it's
Greg has never ever left a room, even when it's really bad.
Oh God, I know.
I'm like,
Horrible
okay, if I'm around
situations.
other people,
Funerals, I'm farting.
even if I'm just with Greg and I'm like, I know I'm having a bad day, gassy, whatever, I'm gonna go somewhere else and do it.
Okay.
As an act of kindness and
psycho,
selflessness.
Mitch.
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm gonna drag you, because I know I'm gonna get dragged for the next 45 minutes.
what?
But I did read a study, and we've also put it in our videos, that people who are more anxious and socially conservative, something I don't want to be, are the people who
You just don't like the word conservative,
Yeah.
but truthfully, that word does not have anything to do with political affiliation.
No, because I love to conserve energy.
Exactly.
But what I'm just saying is then there's people on the other hand who are more free spirited, and definitely someone like me who probably should be dead, because I just do things that are those are the people who
should
don't
be dead
leave the room.
because you would not because you should die, but because you're so absent-minded you might have died already.
Yeah, the study literally used people who had skydived under the assumption that they're
I've skydived and you have.
I know. I'm just saying that idea of let's go skydiving. That is the people who
They're more
fart
likely to
openly
fart.
and they don't think I agree. I'm when people fart, I've never been what the fuck? I'm always oh my God, that's so bad. But I'm I kind of think it's funny. And then there are people on the other end who you and who are probably actually really cautious and amazing people who leave rooms. I'm just I've never done that.
It's
And
not like
I don't need you to leave the room. And actually, when you fart, I love it, because I'm it makes me feel less bad about the fact that I'm always wearing it.
So, but okay, no, I totally agree that me being anxious people often, socially anxious people, are aware of everyone else, right? So I think, and this is not a criticism, because I think you are more free spirited, and there's so many beautiful qualities about not always not being anxious. You're not thinking about everyone else when you fart.
Yeah.
Whereas when I do anything, it's in relation to who's in the room and how are they being impacted and what are they thinking and all those
fart
things.
at the tip of your little anus hole must be so stressful. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I barely talk and hang out. It's because I'm if I move, it's coming out.
God, you constantly
No, I'm
have a
joking.
fart at the tip.
It's, to be honest, okay, it's more if I think it's if I know, there's times when you're just gassing and it's not smelly, and I'm
you just said that so fast.
sorry. There's times when
Yeah.
if you know you're gassy but
Yeah.
it doesn't smell, I don't really care. I'm not.
You don't mind the noise. You don't mind blowing a big old.
I mean, I probably won't. You're right. I carry shame. It's my Catholic upbringing.
Oh God.
That sort of like be polite all the
That's
time.
deep.
But well, I lost my train of thought.
No, you were talking just about like how when they're not smelly, you're telling me you'll push them out. I'm like, I haven't
like
heard
around
fart.
you, especially if I'm
Okay.
around someone comfortable, and because to me it can be funny. A fart can be funny, but I think for
A fart can be funny.
a fart can be funny.
But that
for
on a
sure.
mug.
But it surprises me
God.
that it can smell so bad,
yeah.
and then you
Doity
keep
diaper.
doing it.
It's
and I'm
doity
like,
diaper.
and I'm like, okay. Sometimes I love kimchi. I'll always have like a jar of kimchi, and every time I open it, you'll be like, "Oh, it smells. Would you fart?" And
Because I'm wanting you to have farted. It's literally
I'm
because
like-
I'm like trying to be like, you tell me you fucking farted for once, please, in your goddamn life.
obviously fart.
And then you're like, no, kimchi. I'm like, damn it.
So I have two studies. I want to bring up the first one first.
Okay,
It's not
go.
as related to farts, but it made me laugh thinking about us. So it said they did a study on sleep and the smell of your partner, and it found out that the smell of your partner actually helps you sleep better. And I was like, do Greg's farts help
Oh
me
my
sleep?
God. There you think, you scientists.
But in this case, they were using like used clothing from the partner.
Yeah, okay,
and
that's
wrapping
not
it.
ripping
it's not the
nasty
same,
farts. Yeah.
because that's like your body.
And
sense.
actually, yeah, no, this feels very
not your
different.
excrement.
This feels very different. Like 'cause
But-
the shirts of the partner is a very different situation than what I'm
right, because
saying.
perhaps it's like hormonal, but I think it's interesting because I think the evolutionary assumption, but obviously these are all just theories, is that when you're around people, even subconsciously, you're safer.
And
So
some people
if-
might say they're just hypotheses.
sure,
I've
sure,
been realizing
sorry.
I need to watch my language on that.
Hypotheses.
Hypotheses.
Agreed that, but I mean, obviously your fart is now a signature scent tied to you. So
Yes.
if I'm sniffing that subconsciously at night, I probably, and I honestly do
welcome.
notice because
You're literally
me.
welcome.
we have 2 bedrooms, so like we sleep apart sometimes.
And it's usually because of my farts.
Like honestly, but I notice I sleep so much better. I think when we sleep. In the same
I
bed.
was gonna bring it up. I was like, you're always like, I sleep so much better when you're here, but you have to go to the other bed because you smell like shit. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep in the other
So-
bed, and then I'll rip farts, and I will be like, this is insane, and then thank God I'm not with him. But I was actually giving you
no
the best sleep.
No, because it's once you're sleeping, and if I can't fall asleep because it
Yeah.
smells like hot garbage.
it's literally
That's wrong.
doity diaper, like in the sun.
Where did you get that?
It's how
Doity.
kids say dirty diaper.
Doity diaper.
And I'm sorry, but it's just like dirty diaper. Like setting it normal is worse. So I just say doity diaper.
Fair. Okay. Tell me about your family upbringing and farts.
Thank you. This is our magnum opus. This should be 17 hours. I'm kidding. Okay, so farts. I just want to we just need to imagine someone listening was like, what is a fart?
What are they even talking
about? Okay, but we need to talk about what it actually is though, because I do think that that's a really important thing.
Finky. That's what some people say, right?
That's what my mom said. Are you just really trying
what
to
are
bring
other
back to
names
family?
for it? What are other names for it? Fluffs.
Fluff?
Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
that's my auntie's say.
No,
fluff.
I want to talk about what they are. The science of it. That's what I'm trying to say. We need to get that out there because there's nitrogen
and helium. Oh no,
No.
hydrogen and helium. Sorry, I'm
Well, there is hydrogen in your gas, but okay, there's specific things like nitrogen, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, which come out of your ass, which cause the noise, which cause that feeling of the air coming out of your hole. Those do not smell. So that's like important. That's why, you can rip a fart that's really loud and funny and not smell. And that's a really cool party trick that I really would enjoy. That can come from if you chew more gum, you can create more of these types of farts. It can literally be from swallowed air.
just I see. Just air coming in. Okay.
But then it's like when you get to your large intestine, that's where you got lots of little bacteria that are going to be breaking down anything that's not digested then. And they will produce a lot of chemicals. And the ones containing sulfur are the ones that smell. And usually when you fart, it's only like 1% of the sulfur containing compounds. The rest is literally the hydrogen, the carbon dioxide, the nitrogen, making the actual the actual like remnants matter of the fart. But the actual
The
smell,
velocity.
yeah, the velocity, the actual smell is just the sulfur containing. So if you eat eggs or broccoli or high sulfur containing foods, you can have smellier farts. And then beans, this is where I'm getting to me being vegetarian, are not easily broken down. They get to your large intestine quite often. That's why beans are different.
Wait, what?
Too.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like that's true. Like
Okay.
that was like a legit song because beans actually make it to your large intestine where the bacteria go ape shit on it.
But are beans making it smelly farts? I thought they were making it mostly gaseous farts.
No, they're making it mostly gaseous farts, but
if you also have smelly.
yeah, you're eating a lot of broccoli and beans. It's just like you're getting, you know what I mean?
You're having
Like,
a loud, stinky fart.
you're making the cocktail. Anyways, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now you're right. We can talk about how it was growing
now,
up.
dear audience, you know what a fart is.
Yes, you need to know what a fart is. You need to know that it's not all smelly. You need to know that only 1% of it is smelly. And that's why silent but deadly can actually be a thing, because it's more likely to have a high concentration of the sulfur dioxide.
Yeah, you know it's going to be bad when it's like slow and hot air.
Yeah.
You know, because when it's like, it's like never usually that bad. I mean, yeah, there could be still the sulfur like compounds in there, but
know what Mitch has to also live with, because I feel like I haven't shared this party trick with other people, but when I know I'm gonna do a loud fart, I've been really working on stretching down into like the get low sexy like you know, like drop down and like
arm
and
up.
you put your 2 arms up and you bring your ass to the ground and you kind of like, if I could twerk I would twerk. What I do is I drop down, and right when I drop down to the ground I like rip a fart.
yeah.
And
It
so it's
sounds like your pants are ripping.
It sounds like my pants are ripping, and it's like really.
Is that what they call it, ripping a
fun.
fart?
I don't know. I've heard people say that.
No, I'm saying, is that why? It sounds like you're ripping your pants open.
No, I really. If so,
Ripping a fart.
reach out, linguist scholars. But that's a really cool party trick that people haven't seen because we've been in a pandemic. But I'm excited to unveil.
Oh,
to
you've
the
been
world.
practicing that since
No, I
pandemic.
literally have been practicing that over the past year.
Okay, back to family resemblance. Sorry, that isn't that a drag thing. So in your family, was farting openly
so
just
open,
acceptable?
So my mom
funny?
called them finkies, and they were so cute.
Oh, two. That's another word.
Two. But like for sure, we would fart. We would talk. I'm like, yeah, like that's probably part of it. Like we would never hold in our farts. We'd talk about them. We'd be like, oh gosh. Like we'd had a stanky shit. Oh my God, don't go in there. Sounds like shit, dirty diaper. So very, very, very open,
so
especially
weird.
about farting. Like I've never thought to not. So now your turn.
So it's interesting because I think in not just my family, but I can think of my family. Like it's sort of like this patriarchal thing, right? In society where like men are allowed to fart and women are
my
not.
God, that is so deep.
And so
interesting.
even in my family, it's like my dad would fart and it'd be funny. And he could kind of like, it was like his masculinity allowed him to do that for some reason. But I, as the little gay boy, didn't. But I feel like my older
my
brother
God.
did comfortably would fart out
Yeah.
loud. But for me, I was like
And
more
your
feminine.
sister
My
and
sister,
your
my
mom
mom.
did-
It was
oh
like
my
private.
God.
And not that they would never fart, but they would like, you know, have.
And
the
this is,
girls
like-
are trained to like be polite and like leave the room and never fart or burp in front of a gentleman, you know? And so there's something weird about, I see that in society and other families where boys and men are allowed to fart.
I am obsessed with that. I'm like, get Bustle online. You're writing an essay. Like that is like so
Get
interesting.
what?
Bustle, it's like an online magazine. I mean, they might be dead now. I'm sorry. Is it like Gawker? Like I don't know. Like I don't know. But oh my God, that's so interesting. That is so fucking true. Like it's like now I'm like trying to be like, did my sister fart? And I'm like, okay, she did. And my mom, well, oops, I finkied. Like very like.
Well, I do think
like-
your family doesn't. How do I say this? Like,
Oh, yeah, we don't
they
fall
break
into
down the
the-
structure of that like
Yeah,
typical
of gender.
patriarchy.
My dad
of
always did the
just, like-
laundry.
Well, not even just that, but it is like they're more alternative, I think. And you grew up in a larger city, probably were exposed to more points of view, and that may not be the only
My
reason.
mom's literally calling me right now.
Oh my God, answer,
Imagine
just
I
fart.
answered it and she was just like, so you having a good finky?
Just fart.
No, I'm gonna call her back. Oh my God. No, I totally love that so much. I love my family so deeply because of that. You're right. Like there's so much patriarchal garbage in this
Yes.
world that is ruining it like
And-
so deeply. And I'm not trying to say that it's just like that is such an interesting tie, and it's ruining farts for everyone. And women can fart, and in fact, statistically, women fart
can
more.
Fart,
No, I literally am
actually.
like,
if you didn't know, technically and physically, a woman can fart.
no, exactly. No, and I'm telling you right now, scientifically, 2 studies I read about that they reference this other study. Women fart more, my friends. That's
Well, because
awful.
They have to hold it in around people because literally people make jokes that they don't fart or poop.
Yeah, which is such bullshit. But anyways, what I'm saying is that women literally fart more, and there's a variety of physiological reasons, and it's not just because they're holding it in. It's not just because
Okay.
of society.
It's just their
yeah, and it's
bodies are
about their
different.
large intestine, and it's about the actual physiological makeup of their bodies. But I'm saying it's also just so sad because you're right. They're being told not to fart, and it's like actually scientifically they're farting more. If anyone should be, if any like fucking, I don't believe in gender, but if we're gonna think of binary genders, if any gender is to be the one that's allowed to fart, it's women because they're actually like farting
biologically
more.
primed more. Or
Exactly.
They have the
so
excuse.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
like you're,
why?
and I do know that's like I remember that like elementary school feeling of like the guy farting and everyone laughing and the girls being like stop, like you can't, and then me like sitting there and being like this is homophobic.
But you know, yeah, literally.
You know what I
and
mean?
and
It's
a
like,
lot
this
of
is,
gay
like,
men, I
wrong.
would say, not only like fit into the category of like don't fart. I mean, obviously there's lots of shades of gray and all this. Like obviously there's lots of gay men who fart happily, but I think the stereotype is that they don't. And I'm just thinking about how, to be honest, and maybe this is going to shame you, but maybe ultimately as we get rid of this sort of toxic masculinity, ultimately it's a natural function. So you shouldn't be ashamed.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a dominance thing, and if you're at the top of the chain, you can inconvenience others with your smell, and it's funny. Whereas somebody else doing it who's subordinate, it's like, you know what I mean? Almost like maybe I wonder if dogs can do, like, maybe dogs only fart when they're like the dominant.
No, okay, no, you literally just went a little too far.
No, I'm
but
just
like
wondering.
before the dog thing, I was like, you're literally blowing my mind because I'm like, that is some social science ass shit. If I was at U of T right now in social sciences, I would. No, I'm not even kidding. Because farts are easy to study. There's so many biological studies. I've been reading them all week. There's so much stuff about it. You could easily try and like figure out and like do experiments with farting and see if it has to do with social totem poles, which are so specifically designed for men to be at the top in our fucked up patriarchal society.
Right. And I mean, there could be arguments that also it could be used to lighten the mood. Like, obviously, farts are easy place to go for jokes, and so there's one side of it that maybe is toxic masculinity, but there's another part where I'm like, does it break tension in society?
Okay, I actually am obsessed with farts on such a deep level. And I'm questioning all my farts ever. I'm like, was I like what was I doing? Like, am I trying to start something? But what I want to say is like, okay, do you think farts are funny?
They can be, for sure. But to me, it's the sound and the idea is funny. But when it really smells, I don't think that's funny because then I'm actually disturbed.
We talked about it. We had a therapy session about my farts. Like, that's raw. That's me being raw.
Do you not feel this way, though? Like, if you smelt something so offensive.
I'm not kidding. Like, I know that I'm usually the smelliest one in the room, and I know I'm dirty. We were just in a park with our friends, and a really dirty dog walked by, and they were like, everyone's like, that's Greg, it's so dirty. And I was like, are you serious? But anyways, so like I do not ever think a fart is ever offensive. Like, I always am like,
it's never smelled bad enough for you to think it's gross.
Oh my god, no, because it's like, to me they're just like this like I'm just like Mitch gets so mad at me sometimes, and I'm just like, it's like, okay, I know that I'm not trying to say I don't have like a literal problem. I literally know that I do. It's called functional flatulence, and I should be thinking about how to stop it. But I'm like, the smell. Okay, I don't find farts funny. Like some people like
fart jokes,
fart humor I don't find funny, but I'm like, I just like, if someone farts, to me it's just a smile on my face. I kind of love it. It's a little bit like vulnerable. It's a little bit like, oh my god, you fart in front of me, like that makes me feel kind of like warmed to you as like like you are comfortable. Like, I'm just like, there's nothing bad about it, but I won't not be like, ew, what the fuck, like if it smells bad, because it's just like, it smells bad and it's like a weird situation. All of a sudden this day now smells like shit for like 20 seconds.
And I guess that repulsion for me is much stronger. Maybe I have a more sensitive nose, or maybe I'm just more sensitive in general.
Disgust,
which might be true.
Like, do you find
if lot of when you open like old moldy container with food, you're like, obviously that's disgusting, and sometimes it's so disgusting that you want to gag, and sometimes that's how I feel with your farts.
Oh my god.
And I'm not saying it's all of them. I can tolerate many, and obviously there are people that have farted around me, and I fart myself, and it's
you
like,
think that with my fart,
there are times that I 100% gag.
He's also like, oh, you think that's gonna ever make me want to have sex with you? I'm like, oh my god, like
Well, I
you'll
gotta
go
get back
there
somehow in
No,
that
I know, and I'm
moment.
like, okay, I guess
Well,
if I want to get
it's
absolutely
not
roasted and
attractive.
slaughtered in my anus hole, I have to probably stop farting out of it. In front
Like
of
if
my
I just
partner.
carried around a Tupperware of moldy food and opened it around you, you'd
No,
probably
I
start to be
know,
like,
I'm not.
That's gross.
I know, it's so funny. Like those are when you're really trying to make a point. You're like, no, like I'm not.
I know, I get
attracted
so
to
mad.
you.
I'm like, Greg.
And I'm
I
like,
know
no,
it's funny.
those are the moments I remember where I'm like, okay, yeah, true. Like I'm trying to make sure that we fuck each other. That's true. Wow. It's
So-
actually now in this moment we're admitting becoming an issue in our relationship, which is actually how you define like problems in your life. Like
Right.
from even a mental health perspective or addiction to drugs, a lot of the parameters, like if you're filling out a survey, like I wrote a video recently thinking about mental health. A lot of it is like thinking about the impact on your family and
Right.
friends.
Does
and
it
now I'm like,
have a
I have a
negative impact?
serious fucking problem, like worse than any drug I've ever done or any other thing.
Literally.
Oh my
So
God.
I do. My other study is about how to minimize the smell
Okay,
of farts. Do
I
you want me to talk
need
about
to
this
hear
now, or
that.
should we save it?
No, say it now because that's also a lot of my studies are
Okay.
about that.
Well, also, first of all, I want to kind of debunk the vegetarian thing. I know it's kind of contested.
Damn it.
I think a lot of vegetarians do
Beans.
fart more
Yeah.
because there's more fiber, there's like going through you. But I think in so you get a lot of gaseous problems and your stomach has to
you
adjust
fart
to it.
more when you're vegetarian, but know what the thing is? It's
not
the smell.
It's not
Yeah, that's
necessarily
the thing.
smellier
Yeah.
because a lot of times the smell is coming from protein. So the rotten egg smell comes, like you said, from sulfides.
I get lots of protein. Sorry.
I know.
I'm
that's
panicking.
that's the
panicking.
point.
Okay.
I'm saying I think it's the protein. And since we've gone vegetarian, we
wow.
supplement with protein because we're trying to. Excuse me. Oh my god, did I just barf?
Are you serious? You just throw up?
No, I just
That's
burped.
disgusting,
I
Mitch. If
burped
you
and
want
it
to
was-
fucking
this
make
is
out with me, you
fizzy.
better not barf. I'm just kidding.
It's fizzy, and I burped, and then the fizz came back up.
I'm actually a freak. I'm like, I would love to make out with you while you're barfing. Okay, everyone's turned this podcast off.
is
for sure
wrong
at
with
this
you?
point. You know what I mean? Like no one would have made it through that.
Ask
Oh, God.
yourself, how does Mitch look? What I have to go.
Should we edit like a trigger warning right before that? That's like, please skip this if you ever want to listen. No, it's okay.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back. So where was I? Vegetarians often more smelly more gaseous, but not
That's the protein.
So protein. Oh, that's where we were. Okay. And you mentioned how the bacteria breaks down that protein and releases a lot of these sulfides, which stink. So in a study, they actually examined the feces of healthy people who didn't have conditions because also we should also be kind and sympathetic to people who actually have
Yes.
syndromes or like
Yeah.
IBS or anything.
Flatulence is a symptom and side effect of many diseases, even medications. And sorry, that's part of what I should have said with functional flatulence is like I don't have any known diseases,
Right.
or I'm on medication where it's actually like very normal to
part
have
of that. Yeah. And I mean, you don't know that because I'm always like, you should maybe talk to a doctor just to
Oh,
see
my
if there's
God.
something going on. And you've never done that. So it's possible maybe you have IBS or maybe you have.
It's a COVID thing. If the way I'm farting right now, if I wasn't COVID girl, I would have been at the doctor's office tomorrow.
Will you really?
Yesterday.
Do you promise me in the podcast
Yes,
when
for sure.
things are back open, like you'll go?
I'm not kidding.
When
You
you feel
know how I
comfortable?
am with the doctor. I love it. I'm like, this shit's free in Canada. Sorry to the rest of the world. It's like, this is a beautiful joy of paying taxes in this country. I love going to the doctor. It's fully COVID, and know what it is. It's like, I just don't have the heart to pick up the phone, call and book a fucking
It's
time,
not
and
COVID.
on the phone be like, hi. So I'm just
no.
calling because I have bad farts, and then having them, I know what they're gonna do, and they're gonna talk. Like, I'm literally obsessed with science. Like, I've read everything. They're just gonna tell me shit, and I'm gonna be like, cool convo, and they're gonna be like, we'll see you when we can see you. Like, this isn't.
But it's not high priority.
Yeah, and then they're gonna be like, we can literally X-ray your gut, but it's COVID. Like, do you know what I mean? All the answers to that question rely on it not being COVID. IMO.
So going back into my study, but I will also say the thing that's always confused me is that we have basically the same diet, right? We eat
Yeah, it's
mostly
true.
the same things every day. We make
true.
meals for each other. We make like we have and since the pandemic, since we're not eating out as much, it's like we are making and eating the same things all the time.
But there's little things like soy milk, which is very high in protein, which you don't drink, and I do.
Well, that's yes.
Do you know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think I did drink soy milk, but I can't drink that much of it because
I'm
then
saying you should try it out. Maybe
then I get bowel problems.
Yeah, there you go. Could be the soy milk.
so maybe it could be the soy milk for you.
Exactly.
too.
It probably is, but I really enjoy it, and it's very
No,
high in protein.
it's not the soy milk. So, okay.
Okay.
In the study, examining healthy people's feces, And they mixed it with something called cysteine, which is a sulfur-containing component of meat, eggs, dairy, and other protein sources.
Eat it when you're hungover.
When they added cysteine to the poop, it made hydrogen sulfide emissions rise by 7 times. So this thing that's in these proteins, they were like, okay, obviously this is like stimulating the bacteria to release more of this hydrogen sulfide. So they were able to decrease this sulfide production with 4 slowly absorbed carbs. And I need you to take notes.
I'm literally going to write this down. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, I know we're talking into microphones, but I'm literally like, tell me fucking everything.
So the thing about these carbohydrates is that they pass through the small intestine with minimal digestion. And as a result, the bacteria preferentially chooses to degrade them over these proteins.
And they're all carbs?
Yes. And the first 2 are responsible for 75% of this smell or like helping. So we're going to focus on those. Carb number 1, resistant starch, found in potatoes, bananas, legumes, and cereals.
Oh my God, bitch, I'm actually freaking out. I'm like, that's all the things I don't eat right now.
I'm like, every day I eat a whole banana or 2 every single day.
Oh my God. And what was the first one? Oh, I'm literally like, I'm literally not a picky eater, but I'm like, can always pass a potato unless it's fried as a French. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to waste my calories on those potatoes. They taste like cardboard with water in it as a texture with spice on it. But if you fry it as a fry, obviously I'll eat it. But yeah, no, I don't eat any potatoes. Oh my God.
And then carb number 2 is fructans, which are in wheat, artichokes, and asparagus. I'd say you eat asparagus.
Oh, I eat a lot of asparagus.
But I wouldn't say a lot. You think you eat a lot of asparagus?
I do. I actually really love asparagus. I feel like I have a strong relationship, and while alive and sentient on this planet, I think I have a strong relationship with asparagus.
We should actually test for you though. Make you eat more of these foods one day, or for like a week, and then see how if you're still so smelly, and then remove them, or vice versa, and see if
we're doing the thing I would have done on the phone call with the doctor, except now I didn't have to call a doctor and talk about my farts for 20 minutes. Okay. I really am going to eat a banana every freaking day because I really...
Do you not like bananas?
I don't like bananas. Like, these are all things like, I'm like, obviously I like bananas, but I don't like, when I think of my day and I think of like the food that I've bought for myself, I'm like, there's other fruits available to me in Toronto that I would way eat before a banana.
I will say bananas to me can be both the most disgusting fruit and the best.
Wow. Let's do an episode about bananas.
Should we?
I'm writing it down, but keep talking because that's true.
Ultimately,
bananas are a controversial subject, and that fact can make sense. That's not even the words.
It's like I wrote that song, you don't even know the words.
I don't know the words of my own theme song. Woo!
I just find green bananas unpalatable, whereas spotty brown bananas... delicious. And I know it's just because they're more sugar. Okay, fine. And I know like the greener they are, it's like it's like better for your digestion.
Now I'm like, I don't like bananas because both those descriptions I was like, ew.
Well, then why don't you just have a normal yellow one?
No.
Happy middle ground.
Oh, okay. I
like the spotty brown.
Yeah, spotty brown. Okay, no, that's fair. I love bananas. Know what I love? This is like the ones that like aren't the quintessential yellow, like evil dole banana. Versions of plantains. Like, you know, like sometimes you go
not the
and there's
Cavendish.
like those tiny the Cavendish, not the fucking evil Cavendish, the genetically modified.
Is that the one it's called actually?
No, Cavendish died
is the old one. What is the
Cavendish is the one that the fungi took over and
what is the new one called again? No, Gros Michel is the old one. Cavendish is the current.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's why I love you. To know the difference between Gros Michel and Cavendish is so first year biology.
Michael.
Everyone who got a biology degree had that course like genetic modification. And here's the story of the Cavendish, which we lost to a fungi because we genetically modified it to be too similar.
You keep saying the Cavendish, but you mean Gros Michel.
Sorry, the Gros Michel. And know what's important? Diversity. In all aspects of life. Okay, so I really, really think that bananas are like, I'd never really liked one, but I wouldn't.
You got to find the right time. Really.
But
I've heard someone else make this joke, like in a podcast I love called Poog, which you showed me. She does mention, I think it was that. Maybe
we should also shout out Poog. It's literally a science podcast. Like,
but it's not literally.
It's not, but they're
like literally is the wrong word to use there.
Actually,
but
it is
an amazing comedy podcast where sometimes they talk about science things
in beautiful ways. And I think it's their first episode. It's called Organs. And there's a moment where they talk about organs that actually helped me understand where they were in my body physically, which is like anatomy lesson in the funniest, coolest way.
Yeah,
so,
no,
you know what I mean? Like
one of the best pods.
Yeah.
And now I'm like panicking because I'm like, I may not have heard this on this pod, but I just was like, I don't want to say something and not credit it.
Okay.
But it was just like, truly, I have like a 2-day window to eat a banana.
Yeah.
And I buy them, and I try to now buy them green because I'm like, I can't eat them all in one day if I buy spotted brown.
What this is from, and I know what it's from. It's the person who Claire Saffit's baking the banana bread.
Oh my god!
She said that.
Yeah, that's what it's from.
She's like,
I have a 2-day
window, and she said it's so nonchalant. And Mitch was like, that's me.
I was like, I've never related to something more, and I was
holy shit, that's
like,
me.
Greg, I need you to see me right now.
Yeah, and I was like, cool.
I've never felt more
like
seen
bananas.
by a YouTube video than when Claire Saffitz acknowledged there's a 2-day window for bananas.
Really good banana bread. This is a really side note episode. We're side noting hard. Really good banana bread.
Well, this banana's good for farts. That's what we got.
Yeah,
here.
okay, yeah, banana's good for farts. But the Claire Saffitz banana bread is really good. But know what? You won't think it is because you're like, why am I putting like 3 ounces
Yes,
of almond
I
butter?
actually said, Greg, I'd rather make the kind of like chocolate chip banana.
No chocolate chip.
Yeah, her recipe for this banana bread.
I think it's gonna be bad.
And even when she released it and cut it open, I was like, looks kind of plain. Looks kind of solid. I want like a wet, moist banana bread. Greg made it one of the best banana breads I've ever made.
Yeah, like something was weird
ever
about
had,
that.
or maybe it was.
And as I was making it, I was like, this is gonna be gross. This is like I'm making like a weird like soup. Like it was like not right, but it was really good. Okay, so I need to eat bananas. I really love that. I know that there's things, and I want to just say from a scientific perspective, a lot of the things you just said are things I do not eat. A lot of the things that have cysteine in them, like yogurt, which I absolutely love. I'm white. I eat so much fucking Greek yogurt because I'm fucking white as fuck, and I eat yogurt and berries.
This is just
shit.
anecdotal because I saw people saying online as I was looking through this. Why am I barfing?
I love this talk of gas. I'm like, this guy over here. I'm burping.
No, I don't know. I just should not. I really hate like bubbly stuff. Like carbonated. It always makes me burp so much.
Writing that down. Controversial subject. Flat or carbonated water.
Oh, true.
People
what do they say at a restaurant? Do they say flat? They don't say flat, do they? Sparkling or tap?
Sparkling or still.
Still.
You know you're at a bougie dumb restaurant that you need to leave because you're overspending for a barely cooked piece of broccoli. They're like, we foraged. Is when they go sparkling or still. I'm like, girl, I'm in Toronto. Give me the fucking tap water.
Yeah, it's like
this
the
shit's
still water.
Because
when they say still, it could be from a bottle still.
I know. I'm literally.
And it could cost you $15.
I know. And I'm also like, we're literally in Toronto. Whatever weird ass Nestle bottled disgusting shit that you have in a bottle is worth than the gold coming out of our taps.
Literally, go to the stream.
Honestly. Actually, no. Look for that. But then you're looking for beaver fever.
Okay.
Whoa, we're side noting so hard, but I'm actually about to write down sparkling or still.
Okay, yes, carbonation. Also put that. I know it's the same thing. I just mean like for the same episode. To end my thing about those carbs that you should eat if you have smelly farts.
Can you repeat them again? Potatoes, bananas.
So the first was called resistant starch, which is in potatoes, bananas, legumes, and cereals. And carb 2 was fructans in wheat, artichokes, asparagus. Those account for 75% of the hydrogen sulfide production. Like they help minimize it. There was another 25%. I didn't write down the names of them because they didn't seem as interesting.
Yeah, no, but this is the one.
I was like, we got to go big or go home here.
I know, and this is one of those things where I'm also just like, you know what? I'm gonna say it. It's the summer. I'm working on the bod. Okay, I'm being vulnerable. I am eating a lot of protein and I'm eating low carb.
So then you need to add more bananas.
But I'm just saying. I am just like, I'm farting a lot because I am eating a diet to try and make my muscles bigger with less. Like, I'm just being honest, okay? And if you guys want to write in the comments, like, nice arm, I'm gonna flex right now, it would be great because I'm gonna stop at the end of the summer. This is my summer thing. So then,
yeah, we made a podcast called Summer Bodies.
Yeah, we made a podcast called Summer Bodies. Check it out.
Did in your lesson.
So I'm just thinking, there are people who go on that fucking keto, like high protein, low carb shit that I know, and people, and I go, and I always call them out. I go, oh my god, join. You probably smell like shit. Like I literally say that, and they go, what? No. And I mean, those are going back to the sociology experiment we're talking about earlier. These are a lot of gay men, so maybe they are repressed through the patriarchy of the context of farts in our society. But
Or maybe they are fighting against the patriarchy and going, you know what? I'm not going to proudly stand on my fart. And
there you go. That's so
flaunt
true.
it in front of you.
My point is, if you know someone on a keto, high protein, low carb diet, the science is saying they smell like
fucking
shit.
smell.
And I smell like shit, and I'm on one right now. And
You're
my
not on a
friend,
keto diet.
No, I'm just saying. When you're talking about
Yeah.
this, I'm on a low whatever. I'm on a low
carb.
resistant carb diet. I'm on a low resistant carb diet right now, like literally consciously. So I'm saying, if you have a friend who's like that, you like go ask them if they smell like shit and be around them and tell me if they smell like shit. And that's a science experiment. If they smell like shit, you're contributing to citizen science. Just write it down in a notebook, send it
We
to
need an
us.
app. We should design an app where we can just do citizen science and just like come up with ridiculous things that we want to study, and everyone can like test them.
Okay, now you have to all let us know. Is that a good idea? Because I like that. I love eBird. I'm birding, and I contribute to citizen science by enjoying my beautiful time on this planet looking at birds.
There's definitely so many cool citizen science options. There probably are apps out there for it.
We need to make a citizen science app called Fart. Okay, wait. And know what it is? FRT without the A. You know what I mean? Like, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Fart. So it's called Fart.
No, how do we fight against the patriarchy, Greg?
No,
we're
what?
calling
I'm saying
no, we're not doing Silicon Valley. We're calling it fart. So that is extra long. It's not minimizing words. We're maximum.
Wait, you want to call the app Fart?
I was saying, I just hate Silicon Valley is so stupid, and they're always removing the vowels.
I'm not saying
Let's
because
add
I
vowels.
like Silicon Valley. They're obviously the epicenter of why the world fucking sucks. But I'm saying we have to try and get the app sold. Wow, I just became a full capitalist. Like literally in that moment. Okay, fine, you're right. It's called Fart. And it's a citizen science app where you track yourself. Actually, we shouldn't make it about other people. Yourself and your high resistant carb diet, or your low resistant carb diet, your high cysteine diet, or your low cysteine diet, and you report in honestly, and we gather thine info. Okay.
There are people I've read about that, especially medical professionals, that can sometimes detect certain disorders from the smell of someone's farts.
Oh my God.
So like I saw someone talking about how like some doctors who are really familiar will maybe know if someone has Crohn's, like even before they do, because they can smell the difference in their fart. I think maybe one day smartphones can have an attachment and they'll just detect in your...
Yeah, an air part. And that would be great for any future pandemics. An air particle.
True. What's around here?
Oh my God, we're spitting out the hits. Honestly, take this shit and run with it.
Capitalism has struck us today.
No, and I do
no, they're
not
gonna be
wanna-
free.
and
They're
I
gonna be
don't
free.
And I don't want to work in Silicon Valley. Like, you can take those ideas if you think they're good. Because like, ew, I don't want to be a part of that. Wow, but farts are enriching. They're enrapturing.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to say. We have lots of ASAP Science videos about farts because people like to talk about them.
I feel like I
and
had something
gotta
else to
get
bring
it.
up, but I just can't remember right
That's
now.
so cool about the smelling. I honestly think the coolest people on this planet are teachers and healthcare professionals. We obviously all know that. And it's just like healthcare professionals, of course they can probably smell Crohn's disease, like some of them. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I should say this was just casual reading. I'm not like reading a study for that, so I just like...
No, but I'm
put
just
that
like,
out there. I don't know enough about it.
Well, and then I'm just saying fucking healthcare professionals are the coolest people alive, and everyone knows that. They're also the funniest people. And they definitely fart. Actually, I don't know.
They definitely fart.
They definitely fart. We know that, but I'm like, they probably have really interesting relationships with it. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna end.
Wait, I don't have anything else to say.
No, I'm spelling because I was like, there was something else in my mind.
Oh my God,
about
Kate.
farts, and I'm going
Follow us on
crazy.
Instagram and Twitter to find out, and we'll have Mitch go live later with the thought that he
BTS
missed.
footage of... I feel like this happens every podcast where I'm like, oh my God, I need to look up this thing that I
my
read
gosh,
about,
okay.
that I saw on TikTok.
I'm not even
I'll tell
getting
you later.
subscribed. We're going to let this end. We love you all so much. Make sure you comment. Okay, wow. I'm so fucking bad at this. And I've been doing this for 10
always end the
years.
podcast.
Okay, no, stop yelling at me. I'm panicking. Okay, so you need to go into the comments of where you got this podcast. Right? Isn't that what you say? And you write like, oh my God, love this podcast. And then it like, I'm not kidding. Apparently then it like the algorithm's like, huh. And then know what it'll do? It'll help boost this podcast above like Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, who like are winning the algorithm. It's like, we don't want that.
That's true.
And then you also give 5 stars, and apparently that helps.
Yeah, anything you do. Subscribe, listen, share with your friends. Oh my God, I'm doing the thing. I'm taking over. Greg already said it.
Oh my God, peace.
You know what to do. Bye.